Most companies focus on acquiring new customers, but in recurring revenue businesses, 70 to 90% of revenue comes from existing customers. If you're not investing in retention and expansion, you're leaving your biggest growth lever untapped. That's a quote from Roee Hartuv and a sneak peek at today's episode. Hi there, I'm Kerry Curran, revenue strategist and host of Revenue Boost, a marketing podcast. Each week, I bring you sharp insights and expert strategies to turn marketing into a true growth engine. If you're focused on results, follow my show and leave a quick rating or review to help more marketers discover the boost they need. In Revenue and Retention, Why Customer Success is Key to Sustainable Growth, I'm joined by Roee Hartuv. He is an expert revenue architect and the senior pricing advisor and head of go-to-market enterprise at Willingness to Pay. Roee and I discuss why the most successful B2B companies don't just win new customers, they retain and grow them. Together, we cover why traditional go-to-market strategies fall short in recurring revenue models, how the bowtie funnel reframes the entire customer journey, the overlooked impact of customer success on net revenue retention or NRR, how marketing can and should support post-sale growth, practical ways to structure, staff, and activate your customer success team to drive expansion, and more. Stay tuned until the end, where Roee shares the number one way to improve company revenue growth. Let's go. So welcome, Roee. Please introduce yourself and share your background and expertise.
All right. First of all, thank you for having me. My name is Roee Hartuv. I work with B2B recurring revenue companies and help them build sustainable growth strategies and processes. Part of the revenue architecture with team that I lead, we are a team of consultants, and we work with our customers in order to design and implement what we believe are best practices in order to achieve that sustainable growth. I have a sales background, and I went and transferred to the dark side of consulting 5 years ago.
Excellent. Well, we're very excited to talk to you today. I'm a bit obsessed about the topic of go-to-market strategy because I love that it takes revenue beyond just sales, right? Beyond just new business, and it ties and makes revenue growth part of the core function of the company. I always think, it's revenue growth should be the North Star of all businesses. Even if you're a nonprofit, you're trying to fundraise. Yet I know I've worked in big companies where I'd ask about the North Star and they'd say, oh, it's to make our customers happy. And I'd think to myself, well, can it be make our customers happy while growing company revenue, right? So I know you can relate to this. So I guess share a bit about kind of the broader definition of what we're calling go-to-market today and your kind of perspective on it.
Yeah. So I think we all, in the past, we talked about sales or maybe sales and marketing, and now we're all calling it go-to-market. And go-to-market includes the entire revenue journey. Mm-hmm. So from that awareness that usually starts off with marketing to the sales team, maybe BDR's team we have, and somewhere in the middle, lead nurturing, the sales team that close the business, and then the people that take those existing customers, right? Onboard them, retain them, make them happy, sign with us for another year, and then expand. And we now call this entire go-to-market strategy. And that is the scope. I think that is the right scope for recurring revenue business. Our expertise is recurring revenue. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about recurring revenue, you need to look at what is happening after the post-sale, right? Because you only make money on your accounts if they come back to you, if they renew for the second and third year. We all know that in most cases, we're not profitable on a customer on the first contract period. So we need them to stick with us. And if we're focused, if in recurring revenue business, we understand that we need to look at the entire revenue journey from marketing, sales, customer success, which we call go to market.
Yeah, no, I love that. And it also ties to looking at the ICP or target customer that does continue to drive that net revenue growth year over year, and feeding that back into your marketing and sales strategy. So it's so smart on so many levels.
Yeah.
So as you're, one of the things we talked about previously was a lot of the challenges when people are calling you and your team. Kind of, what are the challenges that they typically are facing, where they know they need to bring in the experts?
Yeah. So our growth is stalling, right?
Yep.
That's the number one problem that we hear left and right. Sometimes it's even cost is increasing, but it's usually like cost can increase as long as we can continue to bring in more revenue. But revenue is stalling, and that's the number one problem. One of the things that we like to analyze is to understand where growth is coming from. When you look at your revenue, and again, we're talking in the context of recurring revenue for our listeners.
Yeah.
So in a recurring revenue business, there are three areas that growth can come from. Obviously, new business. That hasn't always been true in sales. You bring in more customers, your revenue will increase. In a recurring revenue business, however, there are two more other growth levers. The first one is retention. When you look under the hood where your revenue is coming from, anywhere between 70 to 90% is your existing customer base renewing with you. And the other, and again, depending on what is your expansion strategy, the revenue comes from expansion. Your existing customers buying more from you. Now, traditionally, in most companies, look at only the first one, the acquisition, the new business, and they do not put enough resources on what is happening on the customer success and the expansion, whoever is responsible for expansion for that matter. I think we made a lot of progress up until the crash, right? 2021, the end of 2021, SaaS came crashing down. And then a lot of companies downsized, and customer success, the post-sale team, was hit the hardest. So I think we are kind of went back a few days and back in the progress that we made on the post-sale activities. And yeah, now we're starting to see the impact of that.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I know they always say it's more expensive to win a new client than it is to retain an existing client. And I think do you have a kind of cost estimate around that, or we just know it's a lot more?
It's a lot more, and it changes all the time. Cost of acquiring new customers. We actually did an analysis, and we analyzed 72 public SaaS companies, including the Databricks and Twilios and Salesforce of the world. So the best companies. And what we saw that, let's look at new acquisition.
Yep.
It increased dramatically. So the best performing companies can, and let's say Palantir is a very good example. We all see that Palantir is doing a fantastic job. Every dollar that they put in, they get $1 back. So sales and marketing spend compared to new revenue coming from new business, 1-to-1. However, we see companies that completely spun out of control. Dropbox, for example, they spend $4 on every new dollar that they generate.
Yeah, that's a big
so I think most of those 72 companies that we analyzed are somewhere in the middle, like 2-to-1, 3-to-1. But yeah, that's the variance. And of course, cost to serve, retaining our customers comes at a fraction of the cost. I don't have the exact numbers, but it's somewhere between 20 cents to serve $1.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, and it makes so much sense. I've been spent a lot more time on the marketing and sales side than customer success, but I know, to your point, how difficult it is to win a client and to win the right client that's going to continue to grow year over year.
Yeah.
I see I that the customer success uh, kind of pillar of go to market strategy is something that, as I mentioned earlier, just makes it makes so much more sense. And I think I agree with you. And obviously, that the more companies are looking at this as a key growth pillar, the better they're going to be in the long term. But it's not, as you know, as it's not always intuitive or part of the best practice, which is where you come in. So talk about kind of how you help your clients kind of identify that customer success is an area that they need to improve, and how do you help them improve it?
Yeah. So there, when we look at retention, we just look at the retention rate, the churn
Yeah.
rate, GRR, and we look at those numbers. We
Mhm.
benchmark that and say, hey guys, you have to improve here, or you
Mhm.
guys are doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Expansion rate, the same thing. We look at
Yeah.
NR and
Yeah.
we take the expansion out and see, hey, is there room for expansion? This is a combination of understanding what are exactly are they selling. If they're selling just one product, there's no real expansion. It's license for the entire company, then yeah, let's sell more services, but nothing that we can grow there. If it's per seats or features or additional products, this
Mhm.
is, for example, yeah. Uh, I'm currently working with a around 600 million ARR company. At this stage, you continue to grow not necessarily organically, but you also do M&A. So they bought another company, same industry, selling to I wouldn't say the same buying centers, but the same organizations. So
Mhm.
they have two fantastic products that they're currently with sub products and features, but let's say two main product families. And now their biggest growth lever is trying to combine that. Now these companies have been together for almost 12 months, and it's still not being done. So when we raised the flag and we told them, hey guys, like it's great, you bought a company, they have a great product. Nobody took their list and your list, or it's now one company, but took
Mhm.
both lists of existing customers and combined and saw the white spaces. All right. And then starting to see how you can sell each other's products. Yeah. So this is just one example that a project that I recently did.
Hey everyone, it's me, Kerry Curran. If you're a B2B company that sells to marketers, whether you're an agency, MarTech, or AdTech, and your revenue is either flattening, declining, or just not growing fast enough, I can help. I've spent my entire career selling, marketing, and servicing marketers, so I know firsthand the challenges they face, the buying decisions they make, and what actually moves the needle. The truth is, most marketing strategies aren't built for revenue growth, but mine are. As your fractional chief growth officer, I'll bring revenue focused marketing strategies designed specifically for selling to marketers, deep expertise in agency, MarTech, and AdTech buying behaviors, modern go to market strategies that include everything from brand awareness to driving loyalty and retention, and a track record of doubling and even tripling revenue for B2B companies just like yours. So if you're tired of your stagnant results and you're ready to build a marketing engine that actually drives revenue, let's talk. Visit revenuebasedmarketing.com or connect with me on LinkedIn to schedule a consultation. Together, let's build a smarter, more profitable path forward. RBMA, Revenue Based Marketing Advisors, we're revenue based marketing that works. Yeah, no, that's a great example, and it's again putting the resources behind customer success, especially when it's compared to net new business. I know you talked about you shared with me earlier that you often do the cost analysis of hiring an account manager or customer success versus another salesperson. Talk a bit about just kind of that equation that you bring into play.
Yeah. This is a very cool model that we like to put in front of our customers. And do scenario plannings. What is the salary for another AE? What is the cost and salary for an account manager or a customer success? And their current, how many revenue the person on the left generates. And if we want, let's do it for 5 years, right? Lifetime value. And what is the revenue that they're generating on the right? And just show them, if you invest here, what is your return on investment? If you invest here, what is the return on investment? So yeah, we like to pride ourselves and focusing on recommending things based on data. So we do a lot of these kinds of modeling and, okay, we need to make a decision. Let's make the decision based on data. And to your question, this is what we usually do there. Yeah. Where do we need to spend our resources? By the way, the bigger the company is, probably the more resources on the right side. You have a large existing install base, and you need to focus on, hopefully you have more to expand and, of course, retain before that.
So you're saying the larger the company, the more you should have on the customer success side versus the sales side?
Yes. Yeah. And when you think of it, companies start off and the first team is the sales team.
Yeah.
And then they bring in marketing. At some point, they bring customer success. But always it's sales that always is leading that charge. They all suck most of the resources of the company. And at some point, that needs to shift to customer success and marketing. By the way, Kerry, I just realized that the way I presented the customer journey, I talked about marketing in the beginning. And I know that your audience is a lot of marketing people. So it's an important point when we're talking about retention and expansion, marketing's role in supporting customer success, the account management team. Very mature companies, it might sound logical, but it doesn't happen in a lot of cases. Marketing supporting customer success. Not only generating pipeline, because this is where, clear numbers, pipeline, and this is where the pressure is to generate more MQLs. But marketing has a very important role in supporting our existing customer base, both to make sure that they are heard, to make sure that there's a communication, and also to identify or generate expansion opportunities. So.
Yeah, no, I love that. I agree. And because there's so many ways that marketing can keep the current customer base informed of, to your point, new products and services, especially after there's been an acquisition or merger, like this is what's happening, this is what's available. But also just reminding your existing customers that you are innovative and that you have new things coming, or that you are, you have the kind of how you're providing value in the industry, or, just continuing to demonstrate kind of the additional value that your customers get by being your customer, to keep them a little bit closer, and not get distracted if a competitor comes by, even with a shinier object. They already, through a lot of the marketing and communication, you're able to help them continue to be aware of what else you have out there. So there, you don't have a situation of, oh, we're going to your competitor because they have XYZ feature, and you're like, no, wait, we have that too. We just never told you about it. So that's just
One of the trends that I see right now is, we always talk about, we want to be thought leaders in our industry, right? But we're always focused on that for lead generation. That's so important when you think of it for our existing customer base. I just had a client nowadays. They sell communication centers.
Okay.
Telephone routing system for those T-Mobile kind of support centers. And AI is also, like every other industry, is disrupting that industry. And the customers want to know from my customer,
Yep.
What are the new trends? What are the new features? What they're not only what they're working on and what they can upsell and cross sell them,
Yep.
but where's the market heading? What are they missing? What
Right.
do they need to know? And creating those type of thought leadership, webinars,
Yep.
and creating that communication with our existing client base. I think that is best practice that in a lot of cases is not done. So.
Yeah, I agree. And so hopefully everyone listening here will be investing, thinking about that with their customer success. So another aspect you talked about was with your kind of best practices and approaches, building the right structure of a team. So talk to us about your kind of customer success pod strategy that you roll out for your clients.
Yeah. So the higher you go, ACVs, and let's correlate that with segments. So
Hmm.
SMB, mid market, enterprise. Let's
Yep.
focus on the higher you go towards that enterprise segment,
Hmm.
the more we would recommend going into a pod structure.
Hmm.
And a pod structure is where you have um, the same team work together to support the same book of business.
Yep.
And you might have an account manager. In most cases, they would be leading that pod,
Hmm.
not necessarily, but then you have a customer success, a renewal manager, a support manager, maybe a technical account manager or an implementation manager, somebody technical to support that. And they work together on a set of, again, depending on
Yeah.
10, 20, 30 accounts together. And I think that creates, first of all, them operating together, uh, having the same communication day in and day out, knowing the customers intimately. If
Hmm.
somebody moves on, right, the pod, there's
Yeah.
that knowledge of the account that keeps on living within
Hmm.
that pod. So there's a lot of advantage, and I think mid-market enterprise segments, that is probably the best approach all around.
Yeah, I think that's so smart because you have basically all of the resources the customers are going to need to be successful at available to help and to your point of having that legacy knowledge and of the customer and that relationship is so important. The other thing that we talked about is a bit of a challenge that I often hear the excuse, well, account managers, they're not good at selling or they're not comfortable with selling. And or I have people say, well, we're afraid to come across salesy. But as we've talked about, the organic growth and the upsell of your other products is so important for growth strategy. So talk about some of the strategies or recommendations that you roll out to help your customers or help your teams upsell to your customers.
Yeah. So this is a mindset.
Hmm.
How do we turn our customer success or account managers that usually did not grow up as sellers,
Yeah.
and they're really focused on impact and customer satisfaction, and I don't want to sell anything, I just want them to, which is a great approach.
Yeah.
But if we change their mindset that they're there to help their customers and
Hmm.
we educate them on, or they know by themselves that supporting a specific role and the same success they have been able to achieve selling additional features or products to the 20 other accounts in
Yeah.
their book of business, they could do the same success for their customer that they're currently talking with.
Hmm.
And this is kind of mindset that we want to install in customer success. Yeah, you're not upselling, you're not cross-selling, although sometimes it sounds like that. But if you're coming from that genuine place of wanting to support, because you're I'm supporting 20 other people in the same role. I
Yeah.
know that the additional features or products can help them to do or be more successful in their job. When you come with that mindset, it's not a sales. You're actually coming to help them.
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree with you. And it's, where you're being strategic when you're trying to bring in more solutions that are going to help them. And, especially if the client really would benefit from something else you offer. And I love that idea of kind of sharing the examples of other personas of similar clients that align with theirs. So yeah, you're right. So for all the account managers out there that are nervous to kind of bring more ideas, I love that, to think about, you're really just helping them with their impact plan and growing their business.
Yeah.
Um, Excellent. So, Roy, this has been super valuable, and I've really enjoyed our conversation. Before we let you go, what is kind of the first step that somebody who's hearing this and they're like, oh, I need to go do this right away? What is kind of the first step you would recommend for someone that wants to get started with strengthening their retention and organic growth?
Yeah. So when we're talking about retention expansion, is changing the mindset that we usually see. So most organizations still follow the classical sales and marketing funnel.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire team is focused on that, how to create more pipeline, top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, comfort, we're creating more customers. I would recommend that they adopt what we call the bow tie. And the bow tie, when you think of it, it's like if you have the sales and marketing funnel, tilt it on its side and add another funnel the other way around, right? And look at the entire revenue journey. Yeah. And once you install that and have everybody look at it, not from ending at signed contract, but renew and expanding, and having the entire organization look at it, at that, the entire customer journey, I think this is the first step that organizations need to take.
Yeah, I love the bow tie visual. It's so smart, and it makes so much sense. I'm nodding here in agreement, because there's so much potential, and a lot of the most successful companies are successful because they have clients that they've had for many, many, many years and help them continue to iterate. So, loved all of your advice. So, Roee, how can people find you?
All right. So if they want me, LinkedIn, I think that's the best channel. Winning by Design is the company. There's a ton of information or IP and frameworks and models that we have created and developed along the way. All open source. Come to our website. Videos and pagers, one pagers that you could download. Yeah.
Excellent. I'll be sure to include links in the show notes as well. But Roee, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for sharing your expertise with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Revenue Boost, a marketing podcast. If today's episode sparked an idea or gave you something actionable, do me a favor, follow, rate, and review the show. It helps us grow and bring even more expert strategies to marketers like you. I'm Kerry Curran, reminding you that real growth happens when marketing leads with purpose and revenue in mind. For more actionable advice, go to revenuebasedmarketing.com. Until next time, keep driving forward.